Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take your sources, articles, research notes, all that good stuff, and really try to pull out the most important insights.
Yeah, think of it as your shortcut to getting genuinely up to speed on a topic.
Exactly, packed with hopefully some surprising facts and maybe just enough humor to keep you listening.
Hopefully.
Today, we're embarking on, well, it's kind of a journey through time, isn't it? A silent story told in stone, wood, concrete. We're diving deep into architecture.
Indeed. And it's often said, if you really want to understand a civilization, just look at its buildings.
Right.
There's a profound insight from R. Gerard Lico, who put it beautifully. Buildings reflect the essence of a time and a place like no other kind of artifact. More than just an arrangement of spaces we inhabit, buildings are the material manifestation of our collective values, creative potentials, and logistics of survival.
That's powerful. It really drives home this idea that buildings are these, enormous, tangible history book, just sitting there.
Absolutely. Every structure, from the simplest little hut to the grandest palace, it's a physical record.
Yeah.
It tells you so much about the people who built it, the challenges they were up against, their ingenuity, what really mattered to them at that specific point in history.
So a humble dwelling, maybe a lean-to, or something incredibly intricate like a Maranautorigan. What does that tell you about daily life, priorities, connection to the environment, maybe even social structure?
Exactly. Or, you look at a huge Spanish colonial church or a sleek modern skyscraper. What values are literally built into their foundations?
And that's what we want you to think about today. What does architecture reveal about a society? It's truly eye-opening once you start looking past just the aesthetics. It's about survival, culture, identity.
And our mission for this deep dive is to explore the incredibly rich and constantly evolving history of Philippine architecture.
We've gone through a stack of sources, historical notes, academic papers, architectural analyses.
Trying to pull out the most compelling bits, the real insights. Our goal is to weave together a narrative that helps you understand not just what was built, but really why it was built.
And maybe uncover some of those aha moments along the way.
Yeah, because it's a fascinating story. It's about adaptation, incredible cultural fusion, and this enduring search for unique national identity, all told through buildings.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Where do we start? Right at the beginning, I guess. Long before any major outside influences arrived.
Let's go back, the pre-colonial period. This is a time defined by really incredible ingenuity and this deep adaptation to the natural world.
Right, so these first shelters, they weren't about grand designs or anything.
Not at all. They were born purely out of necessity, using whatever materials were just there, available from the land. And they show this deep, intuitive understanding of how to live with nature, not against it.
So the absolute earliest examples, we're talking cave dwellings.
That's right. Humanity's most primal architectural solution, you could say. Just using what the landscape offered.
Basic protection from the elements, from predators.
Exactly. It shows a society focused on immediate survival, adapting to what's there rather than, constructing elaborate spaces. It's raw adaptation.
Okay, so from caves, we then see this monumental leap, right? In both engineering and community effort.
Oh, absolutely. The Cordillera rice terraces.
Yeah.
These are just stunning.
More than just farming, right?
Way more. They're a colossal example of pre-colonial engineering. The sources mention Agdang Palayan, rice paddies in Ifugao, but emphasizing the monumental scale. Built by free men, importantly, not slaves.
So that speaks to social organization, too.
Definitely. This wasn't just about growing food. It was a community pulling together for this incredibly ambitious long-term goal. Generations of effort.
And what does building something that complex tell us about the people?
Well, it signifies incredible ingenuity, obviously, but also a highly structured society. This is logistics of survival on a massive scale.
Right.
It reveals a deep understanding of their environment, water flow, soil, seasons, combined with the resourcefulness to literally reshape the land for survival.
And sustainability, I guess, thinking long-term.
Generations ahead. It's about community cohesion, advanced planning, and this unparalleled understanding of their ecological niche. Truly remarkable.
Incredible foresight. Okay, so at the other end of the scale, maybe simpler, but still functional, the lean-to dwelling.
Yeah, that's your basic, often temporary shelter. Just a single pitched roof, some poles, perfectly functional for immediate needs.
Hunters, maybe. Temporary camps.
Could be. It speaks to a more mobile lifestyle for some groups, perhaps.
Got it. Now, the icon, the one everyone thinks of.
Ah, yes, the Bahay Kubo.
often called the cube house, but you're saying it's much more than that.
Oh, much more. It's actually a highly sophisticated, ingenious design, perfectly adapted for the tropical climate. A masterclass in passive cooling, really.
Okay, unpack that sophistication. We see the triangular roof, the posts, the elevated living space. But why elevated? That wasn't just for looks, right?
Excellent question. That elevation is key and multifunctional. First, floods. A constant worry in the tropics. It keeps the living area dry.
Makes sense.
Second, pests. Rodents, insects. Keeps them out of the main space. But maybe most importantly, ventilation.
Ah, the heat and humidity.
Exactly. Air circulates freely underneath and around the house, draws heat away, keeps it cooler, drier, all without any modern tech, just smart design.
Deeply practical. And the spaces inside, they tell a story too, don't they? About lifestyle, values.
Absolutely. You have the balcony, the front porch. That's not just an entrance.
It's the social hub.
Precisely. The social interface.
Yeah.
For chatting with neighbors, relaxing, welcoming guests. Filipino hospitality starts right there.
Then inside the main room, the bulwagan.
The heart of the home. And truly multi-purpose. Sleeping, eating, entertaining, crafts, whatever's needed.
Very fluid, communal living, not rigidly divided spaces.
Exactly. Shared space, reconfigured as needed.
Yeah.
Then you have the silid, more private, typically the bedroom.
And the cucina, the kitchen. Practical area for food prep.
Right. But then there's this really unique space, often overlooked, the bottle-in.
The roofless back porch.
Yes, usually bamboo slats. It wasn't an afterthought. It was designed specifically for wet tasks. Cleaning, washing dishes, bathing, storing water jars.
Interesting. Focus on hygiene and practicality.
Definitely. It allows for easy drainage, air drying, integrates these essential daily tasks really cleverly into the house design.
So connecting all these parts, the elevation, the communal bulwagan, the welcoming balcony, the practical budalin, what's the bigger picture? What values does it reflect?
It screams communal living. Family and community are central. Hospitality is huge, always space for guests, and incredible resourcefulness.
Using local materials, bamboo, nipa?
Exactly. Making the most of what's available, combined with that deep, intuitive climate understanding. It's about living in harmony with the environment and the community.
Fantastic. But it wasn't just one type of Bahay Kubo everywhere, right? The diversity across the islands is amazing.
You're absolutely right. This isn't monolithic. It's a vibrant tapestry. Local conditions, materials, cultures created unique styles.
Okay, give us some examples, like up north in Batanes.
The Raku, the Ivatan traditional house.
Yeah.
This is not your light, airy tropical dwelling.
No?
No. Think stone and mortar, walls sometimes 1.5 meters thick, and a super thick Kugan grass roof.
Wow, built to last.
And crucially, that distinctive pampet, a big heavy roof net made of ropes, weighted down with stones.
What's that for?
Typhoons. Batanes gets battered constantly. The Raku is a direct architectural answer to those fierce winds.
So it symbolizes their resilience.
Absolutely. Resilience, deep environmental knowledge, tenacity. Building to endure in one of the toughest climates in the country.
Incredible. Then somewhere else. Maybe a Payao.
The Binyaran, from the Isnek people. A unique one-room house with this large concave roof.
That looks like a boat. I read that.
Exactly. It resembles an invented traditional Isnek boat.
Yeah.
And that's not accidental. It reflects their deep connection to water, living along rivers. It merges shelter with this powerful symbol of their heritage, their environment, navigation, maybe spirituality.
Fascinating. Moving inland, Kalinga region. The Binayan, an octagonal house. Why octagonal?
The shape isn't random. It likely suggests specific cultural or communal functions, maybe rituals, community meetings.
Something about gathering in a circle.
Possibly. It often promotes a sense of equality, inclusivity within the space. More than just sleeping, it's a community hub.
Okay. And for the wealthier Ifugao in Banoe.
You have the F-bale.
Yeah.
Distinguished by its pyramidal hipped roof. And it has these clever protective features.
Like the halapan, the rat guards.
Exactly. Cylindrical wooden discs on the tukud posts. Shows social hierarchy, wealth affording better structures. And brilliant practical solutions for a farming society. Keeping pests away from the harvested rice stored inside. Vital for survival.
Smart. Down south now, Tausug houses.
The Bay Sinuk. Traditional stilt house, pitched roof. Common adaptation, the stilts.
Right, flugs, ventilation.
But what makes it distinctive are the carved wooden finials. The Tajuk Pasung on the roof ends.
Decorative.
Beautifully decorative, yes. But they speak to artistic expression, cultural identity, possibly linked to their maritime traditions. Adds a layer of art, of identity to the function.
And the Taboli. Their longhouse sounds massive.
It is, built on stilts, maybe 50 feet long, 30 feet wide, made entirely of bamboo, wood, palm fronds.
So communal living again, extended families?
Definitely. Accommodating large family groups. And again, total reliance on readily available natural materials. Incredible local resourcefulness.
And then the Tarogan, the Marnau house. This one was explicitly a status symbol, right?
Yes, symbol of high status for nobility, wealth. Its architecture as a statement of power, culture, spiritual belief.
And those carvings, the penalong.
The most striking feature, intricately carved butterfly wing floor beam ends, often with the pakurabong fern motif, shows amazing craftsmanship, symbolic art.
And the Naga motif, dragon or serpent.
From Sanskrit, yes, represents the cosmological model for wave or water. Symbolizes royalty, protection, life's flow. It's not just a house, it's a living piece of art, a cultural statement, a worldview made physical.
Deeply symbolic. And quickly, the Salakot hat shape also influenced roof design.
Yeah, the source mentions a hat-shaped roof. Shows how functional everyday shapes could translate into architecture. Practical, local inspiration.
Okay, so this amazing diversity of indigenous architecture, and then a significant shift begins even before the Spanish arrive.
Yes, with the arrival and spread of Islam, we start seeing early Islamic structures, a new faith's architecture taking root.
Starting small, with places to meet.
Right. Initially, you have the mosque, or rangar for the Maranao, Langel's another term, smaller gathering places, often in rural areas, community centers for prayer, discussion.
But then they become more permanent, more elaborate.
Exactly. The evolution to the masjid, or masked, larger permanent structures. And significantly, these start to include a dome and minaret.
Ah, classic Islamic architectural elements.
Precisely. The dome symbolizing heaven, the minaret for the call to prayer. This mirrors trends elsewhere in the Islamic world. It signifies Islam becoming more established, more institutionalized in the Philippines. A clear statement of a new cultural and religious identity.
Okay, buckle up, because now we hit the Spanish Colonial Period, a time of massive transformation and, let's be honest, imposition.
A huge imposition. Spanish rule fundamentally altered everything, communities, the bush environment, introducing new concepts of control, governance, space itself.
And a key tool for this was Reduccion.
Absolutely central. This was the deliberate Spanish policy of grouping or reducing scattered indigenous settlements, the barangays, into larger, compact towns.
Why? What was the goal?
The stated purpose was to facilitate religious conversion and cultural change. Easier for friars to evangelize, easier for administrators to govern, collect taxes.
So not just urban planning, it was social engineering.
Powerful social engineering. Concentrating populations for control. It fundamentally changed the relationship Filipinos had with their land, severing long-standing ties for many.
And this led directly to the Plaza Complex layout.
The blueprint for colonial towns. The fort, if there was one, and the church were placed right at the center, integrated centrally and concentrically with the social classes.
So the layout itself showed the hierarchy, church and state at the heart.
Exactly. Physically manifesting the Spanish colonial hierarchy. It created this new center for Filipino life. Very different from the dispersed pre-colonial setup. A shift in power, visually and spatially.
And residential architecture changed too. The famous Bahay Bato, stone house.
Or sometimes house with roof tiles, Bahay Tisa.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a total break from the past. It's often described as an evolved Bahay Kubo.
Evolved how? Better air circulation? Lighting?
Yes. And, crucially, materials. A shift from purely organic materials to incorporating stone for the lower level, often used for storage or workshops.
And the upper level still wood. More like the original Bahay Kubo.
Generally, yes. Maintaining that elevated living space. But now with more durable Tisa roof tiles, later maybe corrugated iron, it's a fantastic hybrid.
Cultural fusion in a building.
Tangible fusion. Indigenous climate wisdom, the elevation, the ventilation, combined with European masonry for durability, security, and status. And those large windows with sliding keepy shell panels improve light and airflow control.
As towns grew, we also saw accessoria, apartment dwellings.
Right. Single or two-story buildings, multiple units sharing walls, each with its own street door.
So, denser urban living, multifamily housing.
Exactly. Reflecting early urbanization, changing social structures, people living closer together in town centers, a departure from single-family homes.
But the most imposing structures undoubtedly were the ecclesiastical structures, the churches.
Grand statements of faith, power, colonial presence. Let's walk through a typical one. You enter the main central aisle, the nave, from navis, a ship.
Carrying the faithful, flanked by pews, and beside it,
The aisles, the side walkways. Then usually crossing the nave, you have the transept.
forming the cross shape, the cruciform plan.
Exactly. Symbolizing the cross. And at the front, the focal point, the altar or altar mayor, raised structure, usually stone or a table.
Where the main rituals happen, and behind or beside it.
The apse, often semicircular, and usually above the entrance, the coro, the choir loft.
Practical spaces, too.
Yes, a sacristia, or sacristy, near the altar, for storing sacred vessels, robes, ornaments, the logistics of the Mass.
And the priest's sermon, delivered from the pulpit.
The pulpito, yes, an elevated, often ornate, enclosed stand, emphasizing the importance of the homily, ensuring the priest's voice carried.
So these European elements were carefully recreated here, establishing a new architectural language tied to religion.
Meticulously recreated and adapted, shaping the landscape, shaping spiritual life.
And the church complex was more than just the church building itself, right?
Oh, yes. There's a whole administrative and social center. You had the church, simbahan, obviously,
But also the convento.
the parish house or rectory, priest's residence, but also the admin hub. Records, meetings, social services often happen there.
And the graveyard, the camposanto, usually outside town.
Typically at a distance, yes. Reflecting evolving public health ideas, moving burials away from dense areas, but still part of the church's domain, centralizing religious rites, even in death.
A whole ecosystem for colonial life centered around the church.
Truly pivotal. Now let's talk specific landmarks, architectural stories in stone, the Manila Cathedral, grand Romanesque revival style, rebuilt many times, a survivor.
Up north, Laog Church, famous for its sinking bell tower.
That's the one, a unique quirk, an Italian Renaissance design. The sinking is real, by the way, built on sandy soil, slowly settling over centuries, adds character.
Definitely memorable. And nearby, Poway Church, the prime example of earthquake Baroque.
The best known, yes. Huge, thick side buttresses with those scroll-like bases and the largest bell.
So, earthquake Baroque, explain that. How does it fight earthquakes?
It's ingenious adaptation. Thick walls, yes, but crucially, those massive buttresses provide lateral support. They absorb the shock, stabilize the walls during quakes.
Function meets form. Grandeur, but built to survive.
Exactly. Prioritizing stability without sacrificing the imposing look.
Quiapo Church in Manila, a spiritual hub. Its current design by Filipino architects Nacpil and Zaragoza, but with deep colonial roots.
Then San Agustin Church in Intramuros. Hugely significant. First religious structure built in Luzon, initially wood, then stone.
And it's the only one of its size still standing as originally built, survived everything.
Incredible endurance, and one of the very few with true barrel vaulting, a complex arched ceiling, an engineering marvel for its time, a testament to quality construction.
Wow. And then, the outlier, San Sebastian Church. Gothic revival, but made of steel.
The only steel-building church in the Philippines. Revolutionary. Prefabricated steel from Belgium, supposedly designed by Gustav Eiffel's company.
The Eiffel. That's
It's
amazing.
a fascinating anomaly. A leap in construction tech, European industrial influence arriving directly, totally different feel from the stone churches.
Down in Batangas, Tal Church, noted as the biggest Spanish church in the country.
By area? Yes. Its sheer scale speaks volumes about the ambition, the resources, the labor poured into these religious structures. Massive statements of colonial power and faith.
And Miagao Church in Iloilo, UNESCO site. Famous facade, right? With St. Christopher in a tropical setting.
Yes, an unusual Aztec-like bas-relief. St. Christopher carrying Jesus through a forest of papaya and guava trees, it looks like. A stunning example of syncretism.
Blending local imagery with Christian themes.
Beautifully done. And it also has a fortress-like design. Thick walls, imposing look,
Why fortress-like?
defense. Frequent raids by Moro pirates from the south, so the church had to be beautiful, yes, but also a literal stronghold for the community, practicality and survival alongside faith.
Fascinating blend. Okay, shifting from churches, the Spanish also built forts and military structures, guardians of the colony.
European-style fortifications, heavy stone walls, moats, grid layouts inside for moving troops and supplies efficiently, all about control.
Like Fort San Pedro in Cebu, the first one.
Yes, initially wood, then rebuilt in stone, a key defensive point. And in Manila, within Intramuros, the Baluarte de San Diego, a bastion.
And the big one, Fort Santiago.
Strategically built at that sharp angle between the Pasig River and Manila Bay, a citadel controlling access. Primary defense, symbol of Spanish might, military engineering for asserting power.
And for everyday administration. civic buildings.
Usually European-inspired two-story structures, often around the plaza. At the top, the Palacio de Gobierno, or Palacio Real, residence of the Governor General, seat of executive power.
Ayuntamiento, City Hall for Manila.
Seat of colonial governance, yes. Then the Real Audiencia, or tribunal, the High Court, the judicial system, and the Aduana, the customs house, vital for trade, revenue collection.
These buildings basically laid out the whole colonial apparatus, admin, economy, justice.
Exactly, shaping public life. And in smaller towns, you had the Casa de Municipal, or Municipio, or Casa Real.
Like a mini ayuntamiento, often looked like an oversized Bahay Bato.
Right, showing localized governance, but still visually connected to traditional forms within the colonial system. Then you had Casa Hacienda, managing the large agricultural estates.
Economic centers. And the Farola, lighthouses.
Important infrastructure for maritime trade navigation, connecting the islands.
The Spanish also started formal educational facilities, laying groundwork there too.
Big time. Most famously, the Universidad de Santo Tomas, UST.
Oldest university in Asia, founded 1611 by Dominicans.
And later got the title Royal and Pontifical University. Huge significance. Formalized European-style higher education, a cornerstone of intellectual and religious influence, still vital today.
Another early one, Colegio de San Juan de Lechon, started by a Spanish officer.
Yes, turned his home into an orphanage, the Colegio de Niños Huérfanos. Purpose, to educate and mold orphans into good Christian citizens.
Education and social welfare, with a strong religious angle.
Always. And also the Colegio de San Ildefonso in Cebu, the precursor to the University of San Carlos. Early foundations.
Okay, we've seen indigenous adaptations, Spanish transformation, now pivot again, the American Colonial Period. Modernity arrives. Big American influence.
Definitely a shift. Focus on public works, urban planning, whole new architectural styles.
You like the Gabaldon schoolhouses? We see those everywhere.
A huge legacy, named after Asaro Gabaldon, who authored the bill funding them. Thousands built nationwide. A massive push for public education.
And architecturally interesting, too. William Parsons integrated local elements.
Yes, blended elements of the Bahay Bato and Bahay Kubo. Appropriate for the climate, elevated structures, big windows for ventilation, wide eaves for shade, not just Western designs dropped in. Thoughtful fusion.
Smart. And they introduced new styles wholesale, right? Like Neoclassic.
Big time. Originating in Europe and the U.S., combining Greek, Roman, Beaux-Arts classicism. Think symmetry, grandeur, columns, domes.
Projecting stability, authority, like the Manila Post Office, Paco train station, provincial capitals.
Exactly, those. Formal power of the new colonial authority etched in stone.
Then, something more glamorous. Art Deco.
Arriving in the 20s and 30s from France, Western Europe, the U.S., sleek geometric forms, rich ornamentation, sometimes exotic motifs, mixing tradition and avant-garde.
Bringing modernity, sophistication. Like the Metropolitan Theater, Capitol Theater, some grand houses.
Yes, reflecting a new cultural era. Cinemas, entertainment venues, residences, a move away from the neoclassic rigidity.
And a later version, streamlined deco, more stripped down.
From the U.S., 1930s, simpler, unadorned, linear, think speed, dynamism, rounded corners, glass blocks, banded parapets, porthole windows, pipe railings.
Evoking movement, industry, like the Keyson Institute. The old JLA building.
Classic examples, reflecting optimism, industrial efficiency, a vision of a fast-paced future.
And for houses, the chalet became popular.
Yes, typically single-story, raised slightly, reinforced concrete and wood, often with a nice extended veranda out front, more comfortable, maybe reflecting American suburban ideals, accessible middle-class living.
So new styles, new buildings, but also a plan for the cities themselves, the Burnham Plan.
Hugely transformative. Master plan for Manila, later Baguio. Conceived by Daniel H. Burnham, implemented largely by William Parsons.
What did it involve?
A sophisticated street system connecting districts, designated sites for civic, commercial, residential use, development of waterways, transportation, parks, comprehensive urban planning.
Bringing American city planning principles here, laying the groundwork for modern Manila.
Absolutely. Shaping future growth significantly.
And this era saw the rise of the first-generation Filipino architects, trained often in the West, shaping this new landscape.
Key figures emerge. William Parsons himself, though American, was crucial. Designed PGH, the original UP University Hall, the Manila Hotel.
But Filipinos too, like Juan Ariana, one of the first pensionados.
Exactly. Government-sponsored scholar sent to the U.S. to study architecture. Came back and designed so many landmarks.
Which ones?
UP Palma Hall, Benitez Hall, Malcolm Hall. the Legislative Building, Jones Bridge, Bank of PI, Manila Post Office, Villamore Hall, now Supreme Court, Rizal Memorial Stadium, and the Metropolitan Theater's Art Deco masterpiece. Huge impact, embodied the era's aspirations.
Wow, prolific. Then Antonio Toledo, consulting architect, professor.
Yes, designed Manila City Hall Bureau of Customs, also shaped future architects at Mapua.
And Tomas Mapua himself, the first registered architect of the Philippines.
Holds that distinction, yes. Passed the first licensure exam in 1921. Designed De La Salle College, Central Escolar University, PGH Nurses Home, Pier 7, longest passenger pier then.
But maybe his biggest legacy was founding institutions.
Absolutely. Founded Mapua Institute of Technology and the Philippine Institute of Architects. Crucial for architectural education, professionalization, empowering Filipino architects.
Following them, the second-generation Filipino architects. Continuing the evolution, like Juan Nocpil, son of revolutionary.
Yes, eldest child of Julian Nocpil and Gregoria de Jesus.
Yeah.
Carried that legacy. And became the first national artist for architecture. Huge honor.
His works: Arellano University, Manila Jockey Club, UP Admin, and library buildings.
Those are key examples. He bridged the colonial and post-colonial eras, embraced modern trends, but started injecting a Filipino sensibility.
Andres Luna de San Pedro, son of the painter Juan Luna. An innovator, too.
Introduced Art Nouveau styles, more curvy, organic than Art Deco. Designed the Crystal Arcade like an early mall, amazing use of glass. Also the Regina building, worked on the Manila Hotel, pushed boundaries with materials, style, foreshadowed commercial architecture.
Pablo Antonio, second national artist for architecture. What were his key works?
Boulevard Alhambra, now Bel Air Apartments. The iconic FEU campus buildings, Ideal Theater, Manila Polo Club, showed great versatility. Key in establishing a modern Filipino aesthetic across different building types, clean lines, functional elegance.
Also Fernando Ocampo, Angela Apartments, UST Chapel, Calvo Building.
Significant contributions to the urban fabric, yes.
And Cesar Concio, the first university architect of UP Diliman.
Profoundly shaped that campus. Designed the Liberal Arts Building, the pioneering Church of the Risen Lord, many others. Established a modern, functional aesthetic for the National University.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Indigenous, Spanish, American, now the modern period, post-WWII, Reconstruction, global influences, but also this intense search for Filipino identity and architecture.
A pivotal time. Nation building through architecture. We see international movements land here, like Bauhaus.
From Germany, functionalism, minimalist aesthetic.
Right. Founded by Walter Gropius. Think asymmetrical forms, smooth facades, cubic shapes, pilates, columns lifting the building, big windows, flat roofs.
A real break from ornate colonial styles, forward-looking, like the National Press Club, Lopez Museum, National Library.
Good examples of that influence. Stark, functional, powerful simplicity.
But modernism here wasn't just copied, right? It adapted to the tropics.
Critically important. The Quezon City Master Plan era saw developments focus on climate adaptation, like Brise Soleil.
Sunbreakers,
Okay.
those external fins.
Exactly. Integral parts of the building, shading windows, reducing heat gain while allowing light. Functional aesthetics.
And new construction techniques. Concrete shell, folded plate.
Cutting-edge stuff then.
Yeah.
Allowed thin, strong concrete shapes, daring forms, large open spaces without columns, and pier screens, decorative, yes, but also great for shade, privacy, ventilation.
So all this leads to tropical modernism.
That's the term. Fusing modern forms with practical climate strategies, building smart for the Philippine environment. We also saw space-age influences, molded concrete, futuristic forms. And the term tropical regionalism really crystallizes this idea of adapting modernism to the local climate, a conscious step towards a national style.
And for houses, neo-vernacular architecture, the bungalow.
Became very common. Usually single-story horizontal look, wide eaves for shade, big porches, multi-light windows for light and airflow.
Like a modern take on some Bahay Kubo principles.
In a way, yes. Adapting those ideas of shade and ventilation into contemporary construction. Comfortable, practical, climate-responsive homes. A suburban staple.
Let's look at some landmarks of modernity. Defining the post-war skyline. The Quezon Memorial Monument, of course.
A major national shrine. Then the original Manila International Airport, MIA, by Federico Allestre. Groundbreaking.
First modern international airport in the Far East. Had the first escalator.
A marvel for the early 60s. Symbolized the Philippines connecting globally, embracing modern tech.
Other landmarks. UP buildings like Palma and Melcher Halls. And the Insular Life Building. The first skyscraper.
Huge milestone. Completed in 1962 in Makati. Marked the start of vertical growth of the modern commercial skyline. signaled economic ambition.
The Church of the Risen Lord at UP, with that unique saddle-shaped roof.
By Cesar Concio, daring structure. And the Iglesia Ni Cristo churches by Carlos Santos Viola, modern construction, but a very distinct, often Gothic-inspired style. Very recognizable nationwide.
What about the Philippine Heart Center? Brutalist style.
Designed by Jorge Ramos, built 1975. Massive public health project. Brutalism, raw concrete, monolithic forms often used for institutions to convey strength, permanence. Yeah, very imposing.
And the Quiapo Mosque, the Golden Mosque, built with a specific purpose.
Yes, the source notes the government effort to develop Muslim areas and underscore the proximity and affinity of Muslims and Christians. A powerful symbol of inclusion, national unity, interfaith harmony built into the design.
Also Zamboanga International Airport.
Yeah.
And back at UP, the UP Carillon Tower.
Juan Nakpil's 130-foot-tall brainchild. The campus timekeeper and music player since '52. Functional landmark, cultural symbol.
And the SSS building by NACPIL, World Health Organization by Alfredo Lus, Manila becoming a regional hub.
Definitely. Okay, finally, the maestros of modern Philippine architecture. The real titans who define this era. Leandro Locsin, our third national artist for architecture. Immense impact.
Associated with the space-age thesis, like his Church of the Holy Sacrifice at UP, that floating dome.
That's a prime example. Locsin's signature is monumental, often sculptural forms, masterful use of concrete, grandeur, timelessness.
His works are iconic. Cultural Center of the Philippines Complex, PICC, Folk Arts Theater.
Yes, and the National Arts Center at Mekiling, the original MIA, Makati Stock Exchange, Ayala Tower 1. His buildings are powerful civic statements. The Tonggalan Francisco Balactas, Folk Arts Theater, even hosted Ms. Universe, designed for huge events. And the Cathedral of the Holy Child by Carlos Arguel is another notable modern church.
Then Francisco Mañosa, the proponent of Filipino architecture in the modern age, championed indigenous materials and forms.
Absolutely crucial figure, asserting a truly national identity. Blended traditional elements, salakut shapes, Bahay Kubo elevation with contemporary luxury, sustainability, deep connection to Philippine landscape and climate.
His works, San Miguel Corporation Building, the Coconut Palace.
Iconic examples, also the Philippine Embassy in the U.S., the Etsa Shrine, Mary Immaculate Parish, Pearl Farm Resort, Ateneo Professional Schools, Malawan Pulo, each a testament to his vision of a modern Filipino aesthetic.
And Gabriel Formoso, Club Filipino, AMIM, Union Church in Makati.
Significant contributions to the modern urban landscape, definitely.
Yeah.
What a journey, eh? From ingenious pre-colonial adaptation, resourcefulness, community.
Right, through the grand Spanish structures reflecting power, faith, monumental effort.
To the American and modern eras, bringing new technologies, styles, and this conscious search for a distinct Filipino identity in architecture.
Each period tells such a unique, compelling story.
It really is a tapestry, woven with survival, adaptation, cultural exchange, and this persistent drive to build, create, express identity.
Like Arlico said at the start, buildings are the material manifestation of our collective values, creative potentials, and logistics of survival.
Exactly. So understanding architecture really is understanding a people's history, their challenges, triumphs, spirit.
It connects you directly to the past, to the builders. So what's the takeaway for you listening?
Well, next time you look at a building, an old church, a traditional house, a modern skyscraper, don't just see the surface.
Consider its story.
Yeah. What values does it embody? What challenges did its builders overcome? And maybe most importantly, what does it tell you about the people who created it and the time it stood in?
See architecture not just as structures, but as these profound cultural artifacts just waiting for you to read them.